Welcome back, focused learners. Let's just dive straight into this explainer. Because today, we're looking at something that is fundamentally changing how medical professionals at IMSR actually work. And look, we're not just talking about another AI chatbot today. We are exploring Claude Cowork. You really shouldn't even think of this as just an AI. It's honestly more like a local, autonomous, desktop administrative superpower built specifically for your Mac or PC. So if you've ever felt completely buried under medical administration, academic documentation, or endless accreditation paperwork, well, this explainer is going to show you exactly how to reclaim your time. We've got a super clear roadmap for today. First, we'll unpack the Cowork advantage. Then, we'll get into mastering medical folders. Third is conquering accreditation and admin. Fourth, we'll look at scheduling academic automation. And finally, we'll wrap up with safety and best practices. All right, let's kick things off with part one, the Cowork advantage. Okay, we really need to introduce a major paradigm shift right off the bat. It's time to move away from those old web-based AI tools and step into the world of a dedicated desktop assistant. You know how regular Claude chat on the web kind of restricts you, right? You type one manual question, it replies, but it absolutely cannot open your local files or execute complex multi-step plans. But in stark contrast, Claude Cowork is installed directly on your computer. It can execute 10, 20, or literally 50-step autonomous plans. And crucially, it reads and writes directly to your local folders. You just describe an outcome, walk away, and return to finished files sitting right there on your hard drive. No uploading required whatsoever. So, the absolute most important thing is setting this up correctly from day one. Think of it like onboarding a new hire. You only have to do this once, and it'll save you countless hours of formatting later. You just open the app, click Settings, and select Cowork to edit your global instructions. Right there, you paste in your standing institutional details. Tell it that you work at IMSAR, instructed that every single document must use NMC formats for medical documents, NABH standards for hospital documents, NAAC formats for accreditation, and that it should always default to the Vancouver referencing style. Boom. Once you hit save, Claude remembers this context for every single future task. It instantly becomes an absolute expert on your specific institutional requirements.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Medical Folders.
This is where we transition to real-world applications, moving from just creating single files to letting Cowork act on massive amounts of bulk data. Come on, we have all seen those messy, unorganized MBBS examination folders, right? The ones filled with chaotic file names like med_Q1_final or second_year_prac old. Well, with Cowork, you simply tick a box that says work in a folder, point the AI right at that directory, and command it to audit, create subfolders by year and subject, and standardize every single file name. You can literally sit back and watch live as it completely transforms total chaos into a beautifully structured, standardized directory. It's wild to see in action. And you can get incredibly specific with your instructions too. Just imagine pointing Cowork to a folder full of student MCQ response sheets and giving it this command. For each CSV file in the folder, perform item analysis, calculate p-value and d-value, flag questions to reject, and calculate KR20 for overall reliability. Just think about that for a second. Instead of you spending hours crunching complex statistical data in Excel for multiple different exams, the agent autonomously processes every single file, does all the heavy math, and then saves the final analytical reports right back into the folder. I mean, it's truly a superpower for academic coordinators.
Okay, on to Section 3, Conquering Accreditation and Admin.
Let's shift our focus to what is arguably the most stressful part of medical academia: high-stakes compliance and massive multi-document workflows. Normally compiling a gigantic NMC inspection package, which includes the faculty strength table, the room-by-room infrastructure checklist, clinical material statistics, an action plan, and the director's welcome address, that would take a whole team several days to pull together. But because Cowork executes multi-step plans locally, you can paste one single prompt asking for this entire package, and the AI will generate all 5 of those documents simultaneously. And because of what we did earlier, they're already formatted perfectly to your global instructions. You can even do this for a complete NAC Criterion 2 draft.
The entire philosophy here is incredibly simple. Describe the outcome, step away, and come back to finished work. That is the empowering reality of this technology. Busy medical educators and administrators literally no longer need to babysit document formatting. You can just delegate entire complex accreditation packages directly to your desktop agent. It does the heavy lifting, saves the files locally, and lets you focus on what actually matters, teaching your students and treating your patients.
Next up, Section 4, Scheduling Academic Automation. Now, this is where we introduce Cowork's most unique feature. This is what truly separates it from standard AI web chats. It actually has the ability to run scheduled background tasks completely autonomously, as long as your computer's awake and the app is open. So picture this automated routine. At 8 a.m., it reads your calendar files and generates a daily IMSR morning briefing document for you. At noon, it silently audits your working folders in the background. And at 4 p.m. every single Friday, it autonomously compiles a weekly academic progress report, calculating attendance, pulling exam averages, and saves it as a neat little Word document. All of this happens while you are busy finishing your clinical rounds. And getting these set up is surprisingly straightforward. You start a new task and simply type /schedule. Claude will instantly pop up and ask you a few quick questions about what the task should do. You paste in your instructions, set your frequency, whether you want that hourly, daily, or weekly, and just click schedule. That's literally the whole process. You have essentially just hired a tireless administrative assistant that runs on a perfect clock. Finally, Section 5, Safety and Best Practices. Now, obviously, with great power comes great responsibility. So we absolutely need to pivot to data security to make sure you know how to responsibly wield this agent within a professional institution like IMSR. And I want to state this as loudly and firmly as I possibly can. This is the absolute golden rule of using any AI in a medical context. You must never upload or give the agent access to patient-protected health information, or PHI. Real patient data, medical records, identifying health information, none of it must ever be processed by Cowork. Zero exceptions. So, aside from keeping PHI completely out of the equation, here are your core safety protocols. First, always review Claude's plan before execution, especially if it's about to rename or move a bunch of files. Next, keep local or physical backups of your important documents before letting the AI loose on them. A really great tip straight from the manual is to create a dedicated IMSR_work folder specifically for Cowork. That just ensures it never accidentally touches your personal files. And lastly, start simple. Have it draft a single SOP before you ask it to reorganize your entire hard drive, right? Build your confidence gradually. Following these protocols ensures you maintain complete control and total data integrity over your local machine. So, we've seen how Cowork replaces tedious manual drafting with autonomous, localized, multi-step execution. We've seen it manage completely messy folders, write complex NMC compliance packages from scratch, and even run on an automated background schedule. It is a true paradigm shift for medical administration. Really, the only question left for you is, what workflow are you going to automate first? Go open up your desktop app, set up those global instructions, and start reclaiming your time. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.